I'm going to provide some information that I wish I had up front before I started getting into the FPV slash drone hobby. This is information that the average guy would want. This is stuff that isn't technical. There's no technical details. This is just general info. I am by no means an expert in any parts of the field. I just have experience, and I would like to share some of this experience with the YouTube community. What you see in my hand is basically a toy that I bought. I bought this because I felt bad when friends came over in my house and we ended up talking about this and couldn't let them fly it. This is a sizable investment and it's not easy to fly. It takes a lot of practice to get used to it. This, on the other hand, is a lot of fun. This was 40 bucks. I let my friends fly it. They crashed it, they banged it around, and it lasted a pretty long time considering the cost, but as you can see now, it's just something to fart around with. Like, what's in there? Look, there's not a lot in one of these. It's a brush type drone. Very thin, very lightweight. So, do you want to get a drone? Do you think you should get a drone? Would you like to get a drone? I'm saying no. The reason I'm saying no is because I said no. You're going to want one. I think they're a lot of fun. You have to decide on what kind of drone you want, and only you can do that. Nobody can tell you what you want. You have to decide that for yourself. There's a lot of experts out there that tell you about this and tell you about that, and I followed some experts and they helped me a lot. You can't build one of these without the YouTube community, but in the same vein, you can be led astray doing things that work for them but it didn't work for you. So as an average Joe, I want to give first time drone prospective buyers an idea on what to look for and what to do when you're first considering it. First thing you're going to decide, of course, and you've heard this on other videos, is you need the cash. You have to decide how much you want to spend. You want to get something like this to clown around with and have some fun. Yeah, it would be fun to do that. It's not going to give you the proper experience that you ultimately want to get. And if you want to fly this and get bored with it and then build one of these, then by all means, you won't want to fly this again. You might want to lend it to your friends. It won't last long. Flying, like I said before, it takes practice, and the practice, it pays off in not crashing your drone repeatedly. You will crash. They say you're not flying if you're not crashing, but if you can reduce the crashing, that's all the more better. Anyway, I'm off the subject. So you need cash to get a drone, and you need a place to fly it. They're the two big ones. Then you have to decide on what you want to do with the drone, what kind of drone you want. All right. My first impressions on what I wanted to do was I wanted to fly up really high and shoot some scenery. I can go places with that I just can't see without the drone. I mean, you can send a thing way up there, take some pictures, shoot around, and everything else, and that's really cool. But there's only so many times that you can go up and look at the tops of trees and see little houses and stuff like that. So it would be nice to, if you go places, to get a camera drone. If you get a camera drone, they're the best drones for taking images of neat places. How many times are you going to do it? Depends on what your travel plans are like. If you're going to stay home all the time, then it may not be right for you. You have to decide, but the most stable, best picture you're going to get is from a camera drone. I wanted to do it all. I bought this because I'm going to put a camera on this sucker and I'm going to take beautiful pictures with it. Ain't going to happen. It's not going to give you the kind of images that a camera drone will. Just like anything else, drones can be categorized into specialty areas. There's sport drones like this one, and then there's camera drones, and then there's toys. So I guess in my mind, in my eyes, there's three types of Three categories of drones. If you want a camera drone, you need to be able to use it in places that are interesting. I don't know how many interesting places there are that tourists go to that let you fly a drone in the area. Most locations are restricted. There's signs, like I was at the Hoover Dam, no drone flying. I mean, you saw signs everywhere, and it would be so cool to fly a drone to see what it would look like from a drone's perspective, but there's good reason for that. There are rules for where you can fly. All right, they're all over the place. You can find them if you want to go to FAA and check their website out. You can also check out AMA. In fact, if you do get a drone like this, you're going to want to join AMA and get insured so that you're going to be protected in case something unexpected happens. You do have to follow the rules. As far as rules and drones go, there's rules. There's rules for everything. You get a computer, there's rules. You don't think about it anymore, but there's rules. If you want to fly a drone, you should follow the rules. So what are you going to do with your drone? I have a friend in work who got a really nice camera drone. Spent about $1,400, $1,500, and he can watch it with his remote control. He never showed me any videos because he doesn't go anywhere with it. He lives in a regular neighborhood, lots of houses. He took it up once or twice. Fantastic image, rock solid. It looked like a TV crew was using the camera. But you don't do anything with it. I'm fortunate enough to have been through the toy drone and the foam flyers, and then graduated up to here without wasting too much time, so I can enjoy it. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. As far as what kind of drone, if you're going to get a drone, if you're going to get a tiny one, you can still cause damage because you're going to fly the tiny one inside and you're going to bang the TV, you're going to scuff it up. You might take it outside and you're going to cause a lot less damage with something like this or even smaller. However, if you hit the neighborhood owner, if you hit the Porsche in the neighborhood down the street, it's going to leave a scuff. And you could get in trouble for that. Or it could end up flying somewhere you don't want it to. It gets stuck up in a tree. These things are very light. And my first experience with a drone was mostly styrofoam. And don't get me wrong, it's fun to fly and you're controlling it, but the wind will control it more than you will. So you get a drone that you can only fly for 10 minutes. And you have to wait for a totally calm day. Then you have to have a place to fly it. So as long as you're willing to do that, then get a little foam flyer or something very lightweight like this. If you want to defy the wind, get something heavier. You can buy something like this, only on a smaller scale. Usually they don't make them this big anymore. This is a 2-year-old drone. I built this piece by piece. It took me a while to build it, which is something I'm going to get into on my next video. But this is fun to just tool around with. You can fly low with it, you can fly fast with it, you can fly high with it. It has a built-in camera, so you can put goggles on and fly using the goggles. It's hard to fly. You need a big open area to fly one of these. If you don't have a big open area, then you should try to find one, and chances are there's going to be a club near you that you can join. You're going to want a second pair of eyes when you fly, when you're early flying, because if you fly this, you fly right into the woods. If you're using goggles for the first time, you're not too sure where in the woods it went. Believe it or not, you would think that the absolute best and easiest way to fly one of these is by wearing goggles. But there's a lot to be said about the skills that the guys have to fly with goggles. So, getting back to the average Joe thing. If you're starting out and you want to start out with a whole kit, you can get an inexpensive drone, inexpensive transmitter, and have a ball with it. If you buy extra batteries and all the extra accessories that come with it, just understand that you could lose this thing on the very first day. Then you decided, well, because the wind took it away into the trees and you can't find it, that you're mad and you don't want to buy another one. But now you have a dilemma because you got the transmitter, you got the charge, all the extra batteries you bought, it's gone. It went in the tree, it went out of sight, you don't know where it is and you can't find it. So if you're going to start out like that, start small. Just get the basic, add on to it later. Don't get locked into buying a whole bunch of stuff or with a toy drone. This is what I built for myself. I started out piece by piece by piece until I finished it, and it was too much for me. It isn't now, but I was afraid to break it because it was expensive, and I learned little by little by little. If you have patience and you like to build your own, then start out by a frame, do your research. If you like that sort of thing, you can research all the bits and pieces. We'll find the best frame, find the best motors, find the best speed controllers, find the best camera. You don't want a junky setup to start with, because when you crash it, it's going to break. Then you're going to be fixing it. And if you keep fixing it over and over again, you're not going to want it. I had a motorcycle, brand new, gave me problems all the time, all different things. I didn't want to ride it because it was a pain. I traded it in on something else, and I loved it ever since. You want to get good motors, something with good strong shafts. 3 millimeters I recommend, because when you crash, you change the propellers, you're flying again. Anyway, that was a little detour. You need a great big open area to fly a drone. And I know I'm calling it a drone, but technically it's a multi-rotor. The drone is autonomous. Anyway, the big open area is the best way you can learn. You should take somebody with you in case you crash it and you don't particularly notice where it went. You need to keep it close by when you fly it. Don't fly it too far away, because you need to know where the front is so that you can fly it correctly. That's all I have for right now. I'm sure that there's lots of parts of this subject that I should have touched on, but this is unscripted and it is what it is.